Alright, so preparing for brick. Got Thomas on the tamper. We've screeded it a couple times, done some measurements with the board, added some sand, tamping again, adding some water. This is going to be our brick ramp. I don't know how many greenhouses get a brick ramp or a paver ramp, but this one's going to get one. It's going to be pretty fancy. And we'll measure with a board to make sure we're straight. And then we'll be off cutting bricks here real soon. Alright, so here is the update on progress. All the pavers are done. Here's a little pathway between the garage and the greenhouse. And where this last course ended, I don't want them to separate, so we dug it out a little bit and packed a bunch of gravel down in there, and then some minus, and then we covered it with this clay soil. So, and then we left I don't know, about ½ an inch of reveal, 3/4 of an inch. And so when she does the wood chips, the homeowner does the wood chip mulch, whatever, it'll come right up to the brick, so it'll look fine. And there's the entrance from the garage that's going to go into this door over here. I channeled some electricity, so I ran the conduit for that. And there's some conduit or electrical in the garage, and I'll just finish the circuit when I'm ready for it. I'll lube up the wire and pull it through. The ramp is all completed. So we finished the concrete. We laid in the rows. The rows were tricky. I don't know if I update this in the other video, but it was complicated to make the bricks curve, lay the bricks flat on a curved sloping surface. But the trick was you could kind of see really close. If I zoom in, you could see these cuts that went down the middle of the brick. And they're beveled cuts. They're 7-degree beveled cuts. And so it's not cut in half, but it's a bevel cut. That way, both pieces of brick fit next to each other, even though it's turning. And I just kept doing that as needed for as many bricks as it took until I could get the run going straight again. The form was perfect. The concrete curb's there to, counteract gravity, because gravity wants to pull this whole thing down and separate all the bricks. But we put this curb here, and there was a little gap here that we filled the little gap with mortar, and we did it as needed on the sides. So what we got going today is we're uprighting 4x6 treated. I couldn't find 4x6 cedar. I could have used 6x6 cedar, but oh my god, that's expensive. And so far there's not really cedar anything, because carpenter bees and carpenter ants love that sort of thing. So right now we're doing treated, and the profile of the 4x6 treated, as you can see right down here, it sits real clean on top of the 6x6. So we're uprighting the posts, as you can see, and these are tall posts. They're 4x6x12s, and I think we have 114. We got these at Menards. They had a pretty decent selection. And we're going to get them up, and we're going to shoot a laser beam at about 8 feet, and then notch cut and put in our double 2x6. And then we're going to start framing up the walls. We have an issue with one of these 4x6, is typical treated gets, is it had a bow in it. So I'm watering this thing and putting some weight on it, and we're trying to bend the bow back out. So maybe by tomorrow maybe even later this afternoon, this thing will run true again. I don't know if the camera will show it, but well, it's straightish as you look at it right now with the buckets on it. But I think it needs overnight with buckets on it to get it straight again. Hopefully it gets straight again, otherwise I'm going to return it. Anyway, so there's the progress so far. Finally doing the framing. Exciting. Alright, another greenhouse update. So, today we finished notching the posts. So these 4x6 pressure treated posts, they all have a notch. We decided that this one was going to be 8'3" to that notch right up there, and then a double 2x6, and then there's another 30 inches above there, and then I'm going to run the double 2x6 across to finish up the framing on this wall. And so it's all going well. It's typical pressure treated lumber, so it tries to spin and warp and twist and move around, so you kind of just got to expect it and kind of go with it the best you can. But cedar was not an option. It was an option, but cedar rots. Bugs love cedar. So here's the interior framing, and the floor came out nice. I'm sure you've already seen the floor. I've already shot enough videos of that. So I had my son help me. I could have done this one person, but oh my lord, that would have been a lot harder than it should have been. So yeah, 2 people to upright posts, and screw in the 2x to brace and hold the level and all that. So homeowner, we just had a conversation. We have about 57 inches of airspace across here from there to there, and so the polycarbonate panels are 24 inches each on width, and if we divide this 57 inches of airspace, we end up with 19 inches. So we decided to go 19 inches, 19 inches, 19 inches. So we're going to have 3 19-inch polycarbonate panels that are 4 foot tall, and then 2x4, and then another 3 19-inch wide by 24 or 48 inch tall, to get us the full 8 feet. And there's where the doors are going to be. All right, so here we are doing another job. Yesterday we were, let me see if I could zoom out. Yesterday we put up the beam. However, I want to set up my sawhorse right here in the middle of the floor so I could cut all my wood, but problem is I don't want to get any sawdust down into the grooves of these pavers, because it's going to go down there. It's never going to come out, and homeowner's not going to be not too impressed with that move. So before I could do any saw cuts, I am putting on the gator sand, polymetric sand, polymeric sand, whatever it's called. There's a few different varieties of this stuff. This is just the stuff that the supply yard sold me. Anyway, so as per instructions, you sweep it in really good, and then they want you to run the compactor, shake the bricks, which is, I rented that for the day. And here you can kind of see the process halfway through. I've already vibrated all the floor, and as you vibrate the bricks, the sand shakes and it falls in between the bricks, and now there's like cracks. You can kind of see the gaps where the bricks shook, and now I'm going sweeping the remaining amount of sand. You kind of want to leave a coating of sand when you're running that compactor, because it kind of needs the sand to glide on top of the surface. Otherwise it might get too abrasive with direct metal plate against your concrete pavers. But with a layer of sand, a fine layer of sand, it just kind of glides across, it shakes the brick, sand falls in between the bricks. So I'm going to try to get the rest of this done today. I'm going to move over there to the pathway. I'm going to get my ramp done. Then I'm going to take this machine back. Oh, and just another quick note. The reason why this needs to be done with the polymetric sand is when this is a greenhouse, there is going to be spills, probably potting soil will get spilled on this floor. And if these joints weren't sealed, the potting soil is going to go into the cracks and it's going to get kind of gross. So, you know, this is what you do to make your floor cleanable. And, you know, there's a lot of greenhouse vids out there. They don't really address the floor properly. They put in a floor, but they don't really think long term. What happens when you spill soil? How do you clean that up? You know, so this is, you know, I don't know if it's the best solution, but it's a really good solution. Now, there's going to be water that falls on this, and yeah, I don't really know how that's going to happen, but it's not like, you know, this is going to be a swimming pool. You know, I'm sure that the brick or the concrete pavers are somewhat porous, and whatever water drips will work its way through the paver, get absorbed by the paver. You know, we didn't install a drain, nor do we think it's necessary. So, anyway, it's coming along. So here's what we're doing right now. I'm boxing in where the door is going to hang. So it's roughly where the 4x6s are, but I didn't want to hang my door on the 4x6 because I didn't trust them to be true and straight and twist. And this 4x6 is already twisted at the base, and I had to shave him on this side. So anyway, we got 2x6s, and I notched them to fit down there into that little cubby hole that I left in the concrete, and same over there at that bottom. So, you know, now I'm just getting kind of a square box. Let's see, there's going to be double doors here. The plan was two 33-inch doors. I kind of screwed up, and homeowner's going to get two 32.5-inch doors. So hopefully that'll be okay. Anyway, and they're going to be 80 inches tall. She likes that door over there on her garage. That's a 33-inch custom-made door, and she says it's comfortable. So that's what we're doing now. And this is the day after all the gator sand, the polymeric. And as you can see, boy, it really, I mean, it looks just like bricks with mortar. The one thing that I would say is, you know, it's really tough when you apply this stuff. You know, you don't want to leave piles of it, you know, sitting on the brick, because it'll get stuck on the brick. And, you know, but if you aggressively sweep to remove every single little piece of sand, pile of sand that's on the brick, then you're sweeping it out of the joints. So, you know, there's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't moment. Anyway, I went ahead and watered it, figured I'd deal with it later, and, you know, hopefully it gets better after it rains. It looks like there's, you know, you don't see the terracotta color as much. It's muted now. But I'm figuring that that's going to improve after several rains and walking around, and maybe even a light pressure washing.